Hey guys, so in this video I want to talk about something kind of different from what I normally talk about, but I want to really compare the SPX versus the SPY. Now, keep in mind, trading the SPX stock or the SPF future is extremely risky, and it's a lot different than trading SPY options. Even though they're both the S&P 500 and they're a 1-to-1 ratio with each other, if the SPX moves up, the SPY moves up at the exact same percent, the exact same rate. The SPX is a lot more scarier because it moves more violently. It moves at $5 increments option wise, and overall, the SPX has significantly more volume. The SPX is more expensive, and the options are, of course, also more expensive. But with that higher risk comes a higher reward. Now, I'm going to go talk about some of the key differences, and I'm going to use an example of the SPX and SPY puts. There is a massive difference in gains, but I will talk about the both pros and I'll talk about both the cons of both stocks. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Damn. Let me go ahead and minimize my camera real quick. I'm gonna put myself in the corner, and let's go ahead and get into it. So we're looking at the SPX here. The SPX is a future. Now I often refer to it as a separate stock, but it's a future. You cannot trade the SPX on Robinhood. You can trade it on Webull, TD Ameritrade, and I think Charles Schwab. I don't use Charles Schwab, but I know you can trade it on Webull, and that's where I usually trade it. Now, personally, I do not trade the SPX as much as the next guy does, because if you want to trade the SPX and make this 600% gain, 1,000% gains, it is very, very time consuming. The only time I really trade the SPX is when I'm a full-time student. So if I'm not at school, I'm at work, I'm doing something different, and it's very time consuming, and I'm not able to trade the stock. Oh, hold on, I'm getting a phone call. 1 second. Sorry. I'm not able to trade the stock, and I'm not able to watch it overly heavy. With the SPY, I'm able to kind of leave it and pick up my phone every 5 to 10 minutes. The SPX, I got to be watching that 24/7 because time is very crucial. The options can move 100% in a minute. Like, it is insane how much gap these contracts can produce. So let's look at this is the SPX. Notice how this stock looks exactly the same as when I pull up the SPY. When I pull up the SPY, it's exactly the same. Now, the SPX doesn't have these time extended hours. The SPX actually just continues trading between 9:30 to I think 4 or 3. So it doesn't do extended hours trading. It doesn't do anything like that. But let's go ahead and look at the SPX. It is, exact same 1-to-1 ratio. Just let me go ahead and move it right here. Exactly the same, guys. The stock moves exactly the same. It's 1-to-1. The major difference is the price. So we can also look at the price of the options. Now, here's the price of the option for SPX. If you go right in the money, it's at $2.45 in the money for SPX contracts. Very expensive. Very, very expensive. It's $245. Now, if I look at an SPY contract, for an in the money contract, like one right in the money, it's $3.36. I actually wasn't expecting that. I don't know why that's a little bit higher. Usually it's not. Oh, it's because this is one day, this time. Is it gonna let me see the 0 DTEs? Okay, they don't have a 0 DTE. So let's actually make this a better example. This is 1 day till expiration, right? One strike in the money is $336. If I go to chart, look at SPX. If I can type it correctly. Go to options. And I'm going to go to one strike in the money. This is 0 DTE. Let's look at 1 DTE. Actually, not the AM. SPXW, 1 DTE. If I look at the strike price, we'll let it load here. It is $36. That is a 1,000% increase in the contract difference. So it's $3,700 for one strike price in the money. The SPY contract was $370. I think it was $330, I think. I forgot what it was, but I digress. The SPX contract and the SPY contract move significantly differently because they're priced significantly different, right? A $1 move on SPX is, how can I say, a 1% move on the SPX is what? So for example, look at this perfect example. $44 on the SPX today. The market's down 1.13%. So it's $44. If I look at the SPY, it's actually only down $1, I think, or $4. So it's down $4.48, right? There's a $40 difference between these stocks in a 1% movement, right? This stock can move $5 a day, which could be up to like 3%. Stock can move 3% in a day, intraday, right? So I'm going to look at a massive movement in the market today. So if we look at the SPY contract, moral of the story, SPX contracts move more violently because of price, the price difference between these two, right? SPX contracts have SPX contracts have a huge spread. So before I jump ahead of myself, let's go ahead and look at the spread between these contracts. So looking at the SPY contracts, these are put contracts. One put in the money. There is a small spread of about $5. Small spread of about $5 between the contracts. So you're going to pay a $5 difference if you want to get in the ask compared if you want to get in the bid. That's SPY again, Steven. SPX. So looking at the SPX, if I look at the options, there is a $350 spread between the bid and the ask. Personally, I'd rather not buy at the bid and waste $350, but you're going to see why there's such a massive spread in SPX contracts and why it might be okay to buy at the ask sometimes on SPX. So another thing I want to note is, sorry, my back's hurting. Another thing I want to note is volume on the contracts. So if we look at the SPX contracts, we're going to look at the volume. Like to look at volume sometimes. One date as to expiration. There's a lot of different strike prices. Now the SPX contracts have not a lot of volume for the 1 day. It's the 0 DTEs. See, that's why I want to compare them. Yeah, 90K volume. That's not really a lot of volume for such a big stock. So this had 90K volume, but if I look at the SPY, you're going to see like 200K volume. Look at the options. Look, exactly, 395,000 volume. That is significantly more money. The spread is a lot less going into this. So also the implied volatility, this is the SPY, the implied volatility is 27%. The SPX has a higher implied volatility because of how much the stock actually moves. I keep referring to it as a stock, so just bite me, I guess. The implied volatility on the SPX, 200%, 300%, whatever percentage, right? Because it also, the implied volatility on the SPX, especially for swing trading anyways, actually look at the 1 DTE, because the implied volatility might be a little bit less on that one. Yeah, it's a little bit less, but it's still more. The SPX likes to calculate in the swing trade, right? So for people who swing trade pretty oftenly, like holding one option to the next day and selling it on open market, the implied volatility is sometimes calculated in those option pricing, not all the time. So but unless there's news. So the SPX likes to imply the overnight movement of the option sometimes. SPY never really does that. The implied volatility usually stays around 25%. Moving on from that long rant, let's actually look at the numbers. So I'm going to show you an example that I've already pre-mapped out for us, and it is between the time increments of 10:18 and 11:13. Very notable time increments, okay? Very notable time increments because look at the massive shift down on the stock. The SPX and the SPY the S&P 500 in general just took a massive shit, right? The stock started to curl. It trended downwards. Now it has some rallies up, and this goes both ways. I'm going to look at the put options because this was, in my opinion, the most massive movement. You could look at call options on this one. You could look at put options on this one, but I like to look at this one because it was very close to the opening bell. The options still had a lot of money in them. So let's just go ahead and look at the options. So if I go ahead and look at the 3,900 option, I'm going to go ahead and view it. View this option from the time of Oh, did it not map it out for me? Okay, whatever. So this is the SPX, by the way, from 1018, right? Market. Oh, didn't even highlight it. At 1018, all the way to 1113. At 1113, we make a 163% gain. That is, this is my mistake. This is not the right contract, guys. It's because I'm in the 1 day. I was wondering why something was different. I was like, something's got to be wrong on this. Looking at the 0 DTE, 3,900. There you go. I just had to show the 1 day. I don't know for just there. Yeah, there it goes. This is the line I was talking about. So from 1013 or 1018 to 1113, we see, or let's look at the opening price at 1013, right? Or 1018. The opening price was $2.05. That's $205 for this contract. For one contract. The contract nearly peaked at an open of $10.50. It actually closed at $11.60. It went from a $200 contract to an $1,100 contract. $200 to $1,100.